I'm Loret Thatcher. I'm on Facebook as Loret T. Setters, which is the name I write wildlife gardening blogs under. And I'm here to give you a timeline of the Holopaw Landfill as I know it. I've been a resident of Holopaw since 2006, and since I was somewhat familiar with certain aspects of the landfill regarding agreements and host fees over the years, I was asked by the organizers of this meeting to share what I have learned regarding the timeline of the landfill and other events following the decision by the Osceola County Board of Commissioners to accept coal ash from Puerto Rico. We start with 1999. On January 19th, Hammock Disposal Company was incorporated in Ohio and came to Osceola in May to present their first pitch to put a landfill in Holopaw. They used the company name Omni Waste. On October 27th of that same year, according to Florida Department of Environmental Protection meeting notes, I'll refer to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection as FDEP from this point on. The proposed landfill would consist of 2,200 acres, 700 of which would be placed into a conservation easement. An additional 700 acres were to be preserved as open space with the use restricted to agriculture and/or forest, and only 150 acres were to fall within the footprint of the landfill itself. The pitch to FDEP requested a team permitting approach and requested authorization of the Orlando Subdistrict Office to establish an ecosystem management team. Ecosystem management is a holistic approach to the management of natural resources. It integrates the scientific knowledge of ecological interrelationships and the complex socioeconomic and political frame of values aiming at the long-term sustainability of a region. On November 10th, according to the Orlando Sentinel, Omni Waste withdrew its offer to build the dump to handle the county waste problem, because the county planned semi-judicial hearings. The county was under court order to close the Southport landfill by 2005. Moving to 2000. March 3rd, 2000, Omni held a pre-application meeting with FDEP. On March 27th, Omni applied to the county for a conditional use permit to authorize a sanitary landfill in Holopaw. The site development plan encompassed 2,250 acres. On May 3rd, 2000, a public meeting was held at the Holopaw Volunteer Department. A follow-up letter from Tim Salopek of Omni Waste promised of the 2,000 acres, only 195 would be used for solid waste disposal. 1,300 acres would be preserved forever by conservation easements. The footprint would be far from Route 441, limited to a height of 98 feet so that it would not be visible from any highway or home. Further promise was that an association was set up by the Holopaw residents. Omni would provide daily policing of litter along 441, free trash collection for the residents in the Holopaw area, 25 cents per ton payment on non-county trash, a new fire truck or ambulance, and utilization of the landfill water trucks in the event of a neighborhood fire. In 2000, June 8th, Omni pitches to Osceola Planning Commission where it is voted down. June 26th, the quasi-judicial hearings were held before the Osceola County Board, where it was denied a third time by a vote of 3-2. July 21st, Omni filed a lawsuit against the county. On November 11th of 2000, Osceola County Solid Waste Committee recommended that the County Commission begin what could be several years of negotiations with both Omni Waste and Waste Management, a competitor, to handle the 600 tons of trash produced here daily. At the time, the Omni lawsuit was pending. Now we move to 2001. January 27th, Omni stated it was willing to drop the suit if the county would settle out of court. On March 31st, the company changed its name to Omni Waste of Osceola County. On April 21st, Omni proposed to take over the St. Cloud landfill in a separate deal. At the same time, it worked with the county on a draft agreement that included the new Holopaw landfill. That second agreement calls for many conditions, including insurance coverage for contamination and paying for county employee to oversee operations and hire all personnel from St. Cloud landfill for the new operation. On June 22nd, there was a letter to the board from their hired engineers which said that the landfill siting analysis criteria indicated that the site fails 4 of the basic siting criteria. One being the site is adjacent to a water body. 2, you can read through them there. The last one being that trucks would be coming through St. Cloud area. In addition to that, they cited that the surface water resources and correction, the site is within the drainage basin of Lake Washington and St. John's Marshes Class 1 drinking waters, which services the east side of Osceola, as well as Brevard and many of the counties moving up north. On June 25th, the Osceola Board agrees to the conditional use site permit development plan. The board's requirements are set forth in a letter dated June 27th with many conditions, and the last condition stated, Omni shall accept at the landfill only waste generated in the county and adjoining counties at the landfill. On September 18, 2001, the lawsuit was there was a voluntary dismissal of the lawsuit, which moves us to January 18, 2002. Holopaw residents chose not to file an appeal against the dismissal of the lawsuit. So on March 27th, Osceola County and Omni Waste signed an agreement for solid waste management services. May 24th, the final permit was issued by FDEP. December 27th, public notice of the FDEP permit is officially published in the Orlando Sentinel edition. And I'd like you to note that date, December 27th, is the end of the year. And this is when the public notice was put in the newspaper. In 2003, on February 16th, a Canadian waste company buys the builder of the landfill. According to the Sentinel, Salopec guarantees only surrounding counties it will hold the landfill accountable for any problems, and he said the company will stand by its original pledge to not truck in waste beyond the region. April 2003, construction commenced. May 6, 2003, Capital Environmental Resources, Inc. completed the acquisition of Omni Waste and anticipates the landfill will open in the first quarter of 2004, which moves us to 2004. January 26th, receipt of the waste is begun. April 16th, Omni applies for and is granted a conditional use permit, which removes conditions that requires waste be from adjacent counties. So the landfill can now accept from the entire state. November 22nd, 2004, there's a meeting in Holopaw of Holopaw residents to form the Holopaw Homeowners, Inc. to manage their share of the royalties. In 2005, Omni applies for and is granted a conditional use permit, which raises permitted maximum height from 178 to 330 feet. So much for the promise that it would not be seen from highway or homes. That came from the county. In 2010, there was an announcement of the merger between the Canadian company and Waste Services, Inc., keeping the company under Waste Services control. In 2011, the county agrees to support the major solid waste permit modification application submitted to FDEP. On May 4, 2011, the landfill expands its footprint from 264 acres to 360 acres and deletes certain conditions in keeping with the new 2012 amended agreement between the county and Omni Waste. At this time, I'm not completely sure what conditions were deleted. September 22nd, a permit is granted by FDEP for the lateral expansion, and there will be 363 total landfill acres allowed, which moves us to 2012. December 17, 2012, the county amends the agreement for solid waste management services with Omni, according to the recent email from the county attorney that severed some of the zoning conditions that were in the 2002 agreement, which moves us to 2016. 2016, Waste Connections acquires Progressive Waste Solutions, which apparently at some point ago changed the name from WSI. So Omni Waste becomes a subsidiary of Waste Connections. Then we have a little history of the ash that's been accepted at the Holopaw Landfill. As you can see on the slide, there was none received in 2018 and through 2016. 2015, it had 2180 tons from Orange and Seminole counties. 2014, there was 2355 tons. 2013, there was no breakdown by county. 2013, 2600 tons. 2012, 4000 tons. 2008, I don't have any details for 2011 and 2010 and 2009. I couldn't find them, but I'm still looking. 2008, there was none for the first quarter. There was no records that I could find for the second and third quarter, and there was 1,780 tons for the fourth quarter. Ash is not listed as a separate category for DEP did not require it to be listed as a separate category prior to 2008, but there was special waste accepted at the landfill, but we can't tell if that was ash or what it was contained at this time. That pretty sums up the early parts, and now I'm just going to tell you how I wound up getting here since April 1st, 2019. On April 1st, the Osceola County Board approved supplemental amendment to waste agreement to allow Omni to accept coal ash from Puerto Rico. This took place with less than 2 hours notice to the public. Valerie Anderson learned I lived in Holopaw and asked me via email if I was aware of the agreement. She asked if I would speak with Rachel from the Gazette. On April 19th, I contacted the Holopaw Homeowners Incorporated leadership via their website to see if they were aware of this supplemental agreement. They were not. I wrote to the Osceola County Board asking questions concerning the agreement, specifically about waiving the host fees and the waste coming from outside the state, and asked them to reverse their decision. April 23rd, I joined 2 Holopaw-based Facebook groups to try and get some information on the original promises made in the early 2000s regarding what would be accepted at the landfill. April 24th, Fred Hawkins replied to my email that coal ash was accepted in the landfill since opening in 2004. He stated, the landfill has accepted ash since it first opened. All waste streams of this nature have been tested on site of origination to DEP standards. This is continually done for any waste either in state or out. I sent a reply to him, and he, because he didn't answer certain questions that I had asked, he replied to my follow-up email where he didn't answer my questions, but said that there would be an article coming out in the Gazette concerning coal ash. May 3rd, Rachel Christian from the Osceola Gazette breaks the story outlining the toxicity of coal ash in Puerto Rico and has consistently continued to follow and report on coal ash story. May 6th, I went to the county board and I spoke to them outlining the impact their decision had on the citizens and requesting that they re-vote. The chair did not even call for a motion, and based on her action or inaction, I posted my comments and the results to Facebook groups where many citizens began engaging Fred Hawkins in group comments explaining the situation. May 12th, I sent a letter requesting a rehearing on the item. May 13th, the Osceola Board held a press conference trying to justify their decision, but does not allow the experts to answer the questions presented by the press. May 13th, 21 or more citizens spoke to the Osceola Board requesting a reversal on their decision of coal ash. Many more people were in attendance, some donating their time to other speakers. May 14th, Chairwoman Breed sent a letter to Waste Connection asking them to cease receiving coal ash at the landfill. May 16th, she issues a follow-up statement, including that the dire situation in Puerto Rico, which does not have a Class 1 landfill for correct disposal, was a motivating factor in the county's decision. I won't comment on that. May 17th, Osceola County issues a press release update on coal ash and is subsequently updated on June 5th. There are links to county documents, including the agreements, the letters back and forth from Waste Connections concerning the April 1 agreement, and that's all on the county website. May 20th, I again spoke to the board and asked about the host fee waiver. In addition, many other citizens spoke regarding the health concerns and other issues relevant to coal ash. May 22nd, Waste Connection response letter stated that it had a binding contract but it would move up the end date to October 1st. June 3rd, the Osceola Board approved signing agreements with independent third-party consultants for monitoring of the landfill. June 4th, Commissioner Grebe sent a second letter to Waste Connections, again calling for them to immediately cease accepting the coal ash. June 10th, I again spoke to the board asking about being more proactive in advising citizens about changes in the landfill. I was one of 4 speakers. June 10th, Commissioner Hawkins called citizens keyboard cowboys, and Commissioner Arrington called certain citizens hate mongers. June 17th, I again spoke at the Osceola County Board and asked about the host fee waiver, still with no response. June 25th, Phil Sutton of WFTV reported that they haven't had any county inspections since 2014. June 28th, Waste Connections has replied to the county's second letter in the negative. July 8th is the next board meeting, and that's all I have.